What's up, ladies and gents? This is KSigKid, coming at you with another Destiny video. Today, I had wanted to do a fusion rifle review. I wanted to do one of the high-impact fusion rifles, but I didn't exactly know which one I wanted to do. Now, you can tell from the thumbnail which one I ended up picking, but I want to show you what I was choosing between and why I made the decision that I did. First up, we've got the VACANCY, which is the former role that the vendor ended up having, the future RECOIL vendor, and it's a ridiculous role. We've got max stability, we've got rangefinder, and we've got hot swap. That's pretty sick. That is absolutely sick and massive. So I went ahead and I wanted to test to see what the spread looked like. In that first shot, holy crap, do you see how much that kicked over to the right? Though my follow-up shots were a little bit better, and those ones seem to go up and down, but that first one going all the way to the right, and then yet again it kicked over to the right. So I'm like, okay, so that's the VACANCY. Next up, we're going to test out the waiting. And this is a brand new future RECOIL. Again, it's another fusion rifle that's got ridiculous rolls. I ended up putting on accelerated coils for now, but really hipfire would make it into that 4-burst kill. But accelerated coil could make it charge faster. It's still got really nice impact, which means it's probably a 5-bulk kill with that. Then we've got perfect balance and rangefinder, again, for a ton of stability and a lot of really nice range. So again, we're going to test out, we're going to shoot on the wall and see what we're looking like as far as our spread goes. That one was pretty solid, right up and down, and then it kicked over to the right as well. And I'm like, wait a second, this is kind of crazy. This is going to make long range kills difficult. Finally, we're testing out the Saladin's Vigil, and this is the one that we ended up picking, but why did I end up picking that? As far as the rolls go, my rolls are okay, mainly because of my first two perks here, Rifle Barrel and Hand Laid Stock, and I'm going to show you why I ended up picking up Hand Laid Stock. The rest of my rolls, though, they can't really compete with the perks on my other two fusion rifles. The other two fusion rifles definitely have better overall rolls, but whenever I go ahead and start firing at the wall, I am definitely a lot more vertical in my recoil. There is not a lot of sideways sway on that thing. And I believe that's because the Saladin's Vigil has a better recoil direction than both of the other two guns. The other two guns have a 60 and 63 recoil direction, while the Saladin's Vigil has a... And I believe that is in play. Now first off, we're going to test it out with hand-laid stock. Again, as we're shooting it, this is pretty much what you saw on the last little burst that we were doing. As we're shooting against the wall, the recoil is pretty solid. It's pretty nice if you even adjust further by holding down on the stick just as you're firing out. So not bad with hand-laid stock, not at all. But I wanted to test what it's like with extra range for the extra speed of your bolts. And as I'm firing with the extra range, yes, they might be getting there faster, but you can see that my recoil is really not as good as it was. So even if the bolts are getting there faster, I'm just not digging it as much. I'm not digging as much because the bolts are spread out a little bit more, and they're kind of all over the place. So I'm definitely picking hand-laid stock here. Now ideally, I would have braced frame over hand-laid stock so I don't lose range. So I could still have that maximum range and keep maximum stability. And then obviously if I had rangefinder or something like that, that would be pretty sweet and pretty nice. Again, my particular perks and roll on the Saladin's Vigil, it's definitely not the best. The only thing that's amazing on this, on my particular gun, is the fact that I've got that stability up there. But it puts in work. It puts in work. So let me tell you first off where you can get this from. Now, it looks exactly like the Iron Banner gear that we're going to be getting, or pretty close. I guess I shouldn't say exact because there are some small, and when I say small, I mean really small differences as far as the look goes. But the Iron Banner fusion rifle is actually one of the faster charging and lower impact fusion rifles, which I'm not a huge fan of. In fact, I really believe that this one is actually the better version, and you get this from the Archon's Forge. Now, the weapons, the armor from the Archon's Forge, they are definitely more rare compared to the Ghost Shell, the class item, and the artifact. Getting the weapons and armor is definitely a bit more rare, but I got really lucky with my but-not-forgotten sniper rifles from the Archon's Forge, and I've definitely got a couple of these Saladin's Vigils. So if you happen to like this video, and you like the idea of potentially using this fusion rifle, you've got to go into the Archon's Forge and just grind it out, and hope that your RNG comes into play. Because first off, you're going to need the RNG for the drop, and then you're going to need the RNG for the roll. But as you can see, you don't need that much RNG for your roll, because even if you just get that stability up, even if you just get hand-laid stock or braced frame, your fusion rifle should be pretty good. You should feel pretty comfortable and pretty confident in taking it into the Crucible and dealing out some big time and surprising damage. As you can see by some of the shots, well, the shots whenever some Titan isn't coming in to slam, I'm doing 50 damage per bolt, and that's really nice. Again, it is a 4-bolt kill, and for those of you who really aren't too familiar with fusion rifles, whenever you pull the trigger, you end up firing out 7 bolts. So it only takes 4 of those 7 bolts to hit an enemy Guardian in order to take them down. And that's really solid. That's why people are starting to gravitate a little bit towards these higher impact fusion rifles, because 4 bolts, that's pretty forgiving. 4 bolts and you can get a kill, and you can get some pretty nice range kills, especially with the shotguns going on as much as they are in 6v6 game modes. It's nice to have a weapon that can one-shot and back up, but you don't have to be super far away like with a sniper rifle. You can still be in and running around and then still take care of business like this. That guy was trying to rush at me and shotgun me, and I just walked backwards and fired off my fusion rifle. So fusion rifles are definitely a counter to shotguns for sure. Fusion rifles and sidearms can both counter shotguns that are going on in the 6v6 game mode for sure. So if you've got somebody that's really always just complaining about shotguns, try to figure out why that is. Why aren't they swapping up to a fusion rifle? Why aren't they swapping over to a sidearm? Because those things are going to help you if you're really struggling with shotguns. If you're struggling with shotguns, put on a fusion rifle, and as the shotgunners are trying to run up towards you, go ahead and back up and then go ahead and fire it off. It's not like you're going to kill every single shotgun or never die to a shotgun again in Destiny, but it should at least help you. There's no reason to get hamstrung by using only one weapon type or being killed by one weapon type. Just adapt the gameplay a little bit. For instance, from that range, that was pretty sick. If that guy was trying to get me with a shotgun, he was going to have no chance. Of course, he was going at me with a primary weapon, but my fusion rifle, because I got all 4 of those bolts in, I was able to take him down in one shot, and a primary weapon isn't going to be able to compete. If you get all of your shots to go ahead and land with a fusion rifle, you're going to kill them that much quicker than any primary in the game can do. So it's pretty nice, it's pretty cool. I know fusion rifles are kind of this little niche weapon, I guess kind of like sidearms are, but we're starting to see a little bit of a rise of fusion rifles, and I think that's pretty cool, because fusion rifles are pretty interesting to Destiny. It's just, they take a little bit of skill to use. You've got to learn that charge rate. You've got to be used to that charge rate. If you're really feeling like running and gunning and not focusing or not paying attention, then you're going to struggle with fusion rifles. I have that very often. There's sometimes I'm sitting down and playing the game and I'm just like, you know what, I just can't be patient. You've got to be more patient with fusion rifles. If you can't be patient, you're not going to be able to charge it up and predict where the enemy's going to come and leave that nasty trap of those bolts of death right in front of them. But Saladin's Vigil, it's a good one. 4 bolts to kill, 50 damage per bolt. Get it from the Archon's Forge. Get that stability up. That is your #1 thing in order to make this a killing machine. Anyway, guys and gals, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, smack that like button and subscribe to the channel. Check out these awesome videos. Good luck with your raids, your drops, your fusions, and I'll see you around in Destiny. #Vigil time.